So right now I have 164 coaching clients who've invested at least $5,000 to work with my team with an average satisfaction score of 9.55 out of 10. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you the exact systems that I use to track my clients' progress and deliver incredible results so that I have happy clients who wanna continue to pay me and encourage their friends to work with me too. Now, if you're an online coach, you might be noticing that it's becoming harder than ever to sign new clients. And the reason for this is we're going through a trust recession. Thousands of people have been burned by coaches in the past, and they're more hesitant than ever to spend thousands of dollars to invest in coaching again. The reason for that is most coaches do not have good systems to actually get their clients results. They may be good at marketing and sales, but once someone signs on as a client, they don't get results and the marketing promise is not fulfilled. And because of this, the clients don't re-sign and are extremely hesitant about investing in anything that seems remotely close to that experience in the future. So in this video, I want to break down the model that I use to coach over 100 clients at once while having a satisfaction score of 9.55 rated by our clients. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the business model that I have. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up on my iPad over here, but my current business model, I have a hybrid model, okay? And what that means is there's an element of both group and one-on-one support, okay? So I found this model works extremely well for health and wellness coaching. It even works for business coaching. And the reason for that is that a lot of people need that one-on-one support and accountability to actually do what you want them to do. And there's that group element that also really plays a big role in transformation and change, to feel part of a community and a bigger thing, okay? So I find this works really well. And typically for this hybrid model, the investment looks anywhere from 2 to 6K for 3 to 12 months, okay? That's pretty typical. Now, what's typically included in an offer like this, that front end offer, is you'll get a monthly check-in call. This is a one-on-one call. I really like doing these on Zoom, okay? Also included in here is going to be group calls, okay? And when you're getting started, if you have a coaching company, you might just have one group call, kind of like an office hours type setting, or maybe you want to do a live masterclass once a week, something honestly like what I do here with YouTube. Like you could do that just for your community and send it out. But you could have group calls. It might just be one time, a week. And then as you grow, you're going to want to add more calls. So right now, just to give you guys context, like I said, we have about 164 clients. And we have 5 to 6 calls a week, okay? And that's good because let's say 20 people come to a call, right? That's gonna be about 120. If 20 people came to a call and we have 6 calls, it's 120 people a call, right? Because I typically don't wanna have more than that on a call. And to be honest, that's on the high end. Most of the calls we do have are 5 to 10 clients, and that's a sweet spot because everyone can get that personalized attention. But again, this is really up to you guys and just seeing what your volume looks like. If you're getting more than 20 people on a call or even kind of close to 15, I probably would make an additional call, okay? Now, again, this is a hybrid model. So the other big element to this is that they're gonna get a custom plan, right? A custom plan. Now, if you're doing fitness coaching, nutrition coaching, it could be macros, this could be a custom workout plan, it could be a mobility routine, but they're gonna have something that's specifically for them and their goals, okay? That's gonna be really important. If you give somebody a cookie cutter thing, they're gonna feel it and it's not gonna work very well. Now, with this custom plan, I will encourage that you have a more a templated out version, right? You have a templated version that allows you to work from. So you're not working from scratch on everyone. So if something for us, we do business coaching, right? But we have 2 different roadmaps that are kind of our core roadmaps that people will go through, and we'll give them custom plans based on where they came in. Because if someone's never posted on Instagram before and they're trying to grow a coaching business, that's a very different person than someone who's already spent a couple $1,000s in ads and are already posting regularly, right? And the same thing for health. If someone's never tracked macros before, You might not have them track everything. You might just have them track their calories or just protein first, right? There's going to be some differences between people. No one should have the same cookie cutter approach. It doesn't work, okay? So you're going to have some sort of templated version of like, if you're a beginner, you're probably going to do this, but then you're going to want to customize that for each individual person. And that's where these monthly check-ins right here serve a huge role and purpose, because these check-ins allow the coach, right? Coach to make adjustments to the plan. This is a great touch point. Like for most of us, like health, wealth, business, we don't need to change things on a weekly basis. I can give you a plan, say, go do this for 4 weeks, and I'm going to hold you accountable to those. We'll have check-ins, and we'll talk more about that in the video of how to hold them to that. But we don't need to have massive changes every single week. We need to build small habits over time. And that's where that monthly call comes in really well. Now, more on the model. This is probably the most important part. You're like, Matt, you've got 164 clients and you're doing weekly check-in calls or monthly check-in calls. Are you taking all those calls? And the answer is no, okay? This hybrid model, and I'm gonna share this now because I think this is important. The hybrid model is very support coach heavy, okay? Call these support coaches, or you can call them support coaches or assistant coaches. This model I found will deliver the best results. Now, this does require you to hire people and train people, okay? But this is how we have a high satisfaction score of 9.55, is we have people who we pay to really be accountable to these clients. And I do not have anybody on my team. Well, I have one person on my team who has their own business. Everyone else, I'm like, hey, you're fully in on this business. And their only job is to make sure that these clients have everything they need and they're on track to have the results they want. Now, typically to do that, I'm just gonna give you guys some just basic numbers. If you're a fitness coach, right, you're in the health coach space, you can pay out anywhere from $50 to $100 a head for the clients that they support, okay? I tend to pay on the higher end. I like paying on the higher end. I get better results. I get better satisfaction scores. But it really does come down to knowing your numbers. Okay, that's not gonna be in this video. We'll probably make another video in the future on like more business numbers and stuff. But just know that if you're gonna be doing fitness coaching, you can pay someone $50 to $100 a head to service that client and give them a custom plan and hold them accountable with one call a month on Zoom. Okay. If you're doing the Zoom call, it's probably going to be closer here. If you're doing like weekly check-ins that are just like, text, email, maybe closer to here. But again, I'm going to encourage you guys to charge more and deliver more. So that's what you're going to do here. If you're a fitness coach, if you're doing any like business coaching, you're probably going to be anywhere from $100 to $200 a head. Or same thing, I say biz or even like personal development, because there's going to be more touch points here, like more stuff's going on versus like the health stuff. So health, you'll be in the $50 to $100 head. Okay. Now, real quick, I know I have beautiful handwriting. You're like, Matt, this is terrible. But I want to talk about capacity with this model too. Okay. If they have just one call a month, what I found for capacity for most coaches in the space is anywhere from 50 to 100 clients per coach. Okay. That works really well. If you're doing more business coaching or having more touch points, it's going to be lower on this end. If you're doing more fitness, where it's just one call a month, it's shorter calls, you'll be more on the higher end here. So that gives you kind of a good range of 50 to 100 clients per coach. Yeah, and if we're just kind of doing basic numbers here, like if you're charging $100 a head, that's going to be anywhere from like 5K to 10K for a coach. Right? And that 10K is really high for an assistant coach, very high. Most people are going to be in that like mid range, like 65 clients. So that could be anywhere from 5K to 6,500. That's typically what I'll see. Now, again, I have seen people who charge way less than that, but you're just not going to get as good of results and be able to charge as premium prices if you're just not paying people well. Okay. So pay people well. All right. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover on here, was just the model itself, because we're going to talk some more about other strategies that we use to make sure that people are getting the results on a good basis. But before we talk about any of that, we have to see what is the model we want to use. I'm a huge fan of this hybrid model with group and one-on-one support. I think it's the most scalable. You do just have to hire a new coach every time you want to sign another 50 to 100 clients, right? Now, other models you can choose. You can choose the more low ticket offer, and that's where, it could be anywhere from $20 to $100 a month. They get a cookie cutter program, and it's a different model to scale. You can definitely do it. I've done that, and I'll tell you, it doesn't feel the most fulfilling. The reason for that is like the businesses I have ran like that, I will look into the training accounts, like Train Heroic, we've used before, and you'll see that like 10 to 20% of the people will even open the apps. So then the other 80% who are paying aren't taking advantage of it. And that kind of feels like the Planet Fitness model, right? And I personally don't like that model. I want to get people incredible results. And the way that we can do that is by getting people to invest in themselves, right? And do the thing. So I found that this model works really well for that. It's kind of like mid-ticket, like this hybrid model. It's not doing live, Zoom sessions with people on a weekly basis, or even, if you're doing training like 2 to 3 times a week, that's not scalable, right? But this one here is scalable. It's kind of more that, like I said, mid-ticket offer, okay? So that's the first thing that I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about that has really helped us have a really good satisfaction score and more referrals is our onboarding process, okay? Onboarding is the most important step when you sign someone up, right? That is the first impression they get, right? They get off the sales call, they're excited. Now, what are you going to do to keep that excitement and foster it? Okay. So what we do is we try to get a call scheduled within the next 3 to 5 business days. Okay. If we can do sooner than that, that's great. But we want to have like that first call ASAP. Okay. And on that call, we're going to cover things like expectations, right? Expectations of like, say communication, but also expectations of results, right? Like what type of results should I expect? Because if someone sees a marketing material and it's promising, it's a before and after a big transformation, and let's say that that's not the average transformation that happens in the program, you need to set proper expectations from the start. If someone thinks they're going to lose, 40 pounds in 12 weeks, that's probably not going to be very realistic. So as part of the onboarding experience is you need to book that call, set expectations, and deliver like a very clear roadmap of what the next roadmap of the next 6 months are, right? Or however long your program is, let's say 3 to 6 months. And another big part of this is your energy has got to be high, right? I can't underemphasize that, because like I've talked to so many people, especially in marketing too. Like I see this in marketing all the time, is that people aren't energetic and excited. And if you seem boring and like kind of like, oh, I feel like I have to do this, no one wants to work with you, right? Like we hire coaches because we like their energy. So you've got to keep that energy high to match them and also get them excited to keep working with you. Okay. One more thing I want to add to this onboarding before I jump ahead to the next section is we just recently started adding a second call, and this second call is about 14 days after the first one. And the reason for this is that we find that the biggest drop-off point with a lot of the clients that we've served in the past is like that initial time frame. So like some people will invest, they'll get their program, they'll get started, and then we don't hear from them for a week or two. And all this momentum that we want to be starting at the start of the program is gone. So what we started to do was we started to schedule a second call 14 days after the first one. And on that call, we have like very clear like deliverables. Okay. Now, for us as business coaches, like this call here, we're auditing their offer and their sales process, their messaging, making sure their pricing is dialed in, all of that. Because I can't help somebody market and grow their business unless they've got a solid offer, right? Which is kind of what we talked about up here. But I've got to have all that dialed in. Now, if you're a fitness coach, it might not be that, right? It might be 7 days after. Hey, in 7 days, I want you to make sure you have your app set up, ready to go, and you logged your stuff for the first week. and we're going to meet 7 days after to go through all of it, to make sure all your questions are answered so that you can continue on at the pace that we want to have set. Okay? That little extra effort in the onboarding by having a second call has gone a really long way for us. We've caught things way sooner than we would have. In the past, like if we don't hear from this, we have our monthly call like 4 weeks later, and maybe this person didn't get started at all yet. We're like, man, well, we're already 1 month in. We've got 5 left and you haven't done anything yet? Oof, it doesn't feel good. We want to work with people who want to get results. So what we'll do is we'll have that second call. It's been a game changer. Try it out, okay? All right, so the third thing that I want to talk about that we do that's helped us get these good results and just like manage people well is we have clear what's called activation points for our clients, okay? And what activation points are is, think of it like it's very much like your roadmap, okay? It's a roadmap. What are the 5, let's just say 5 things that have to happen for results? To give you guys an example of what this could be for a fitness coach, because I think a lot of you guys are fitness coaches or health coaches. Step 1 could be they have logged their food, right? Logged food for 7 days. The reason I put this one as the first activation step is, if you guys already noticed, is what happens here on the second call. For us, it's to validate their offer before they move on to the next thing. For you, what is that thing? And that could be at 7 days, right? But it's like, if I can have that first activation point be within 7 to 14 days of getting started, I know, okay, cool, they're on a right trajectory to continue on moving forward, okay? So that could be the first activation point that they have. The second one could be they lost, again, I'm using weight loss. It's a little easier example, right? They lost their first 5 pounds in 30 days. Okay. Right. I'm just making a ballpark number up here, but maybe when you first start with them, which I do encourage, is if you can have some quick wins early on, it's going to help you keep that client for a lot longer and excite them for more of the process. So you want the second step here to really be like a quick win. Okay. So a quick win, which will really, really help. Okay, so the third one could be, if it's still going down the weight loss train, is that they could have lost their first 10 pounds in 90 days, okay? And it can just be outcome goals like that, especially if it's a very linear thing where it's just like, okay, they lost 10 pounds by 90 days, they lost 15 pounds in blank days, right? Now, I do realize that everyone's going to be a little different, right? Not everyone's weight loss is going to be linear, and I'm not saying that it should be, right? I'm just giving a really simple example so that you have these activation points. So really think of your activation points almost as like standards, right? Standards for the average client, okay? The average client. What should they do in that time period working with you? Because if they're off base here, then you guys can catch it early, right? If somebody's 90 days into the program and they haven't lost their first 5 pounds, then you need to hop on a call with them. You need to give that person support. What's going on? Is there something deeper that I need to actually refer out for? What is that, right? Now, for us in business coaching, ours isn't necessarily gets five clients, gets 10 clients. We have some more clear things, so I'm just gonna go ahead and write ours out just to kind of give you some context. So the first thing is a lot of ours are outcome based, of this needs to be done by this time period because we have a 6-month program. And let's just kind of go through it. So number 1 is offer is validated, not validated, is approved. Okay, and that's at the 2-week mark. And then step number 2, I'm gonna do this for a brand new coach, okay? Brand new coach. Offer is approved, 14 days. The second thing we're gonna have that person do is we're gonna have them do what's called the Fast 5 strategy, okay? And this is a 5-week strategy that we give all of our clients who are newer to get their first 5 clients. And we want them to do this. If this is 14 days, we want them to start this around I'm just gonna say week 6. We have a 6-month program. We want this started, okay? Boom. All right, once they've done that, the third thing we want them to do is, this is a 5-week strategy, so then we'll come to week 11. Week 11, we want them to be posting 3 to 5 times a week plus 1 power hour a day, okay? And this is just like the power hour is them connecting with new people, networking the DMs, trying to book calls with people who are engaging in their content, etc. But it is an hour focused on growth, okay? We want that done at week 11, okay? Once that is done, we'll then help them launch the follower funnel. So this is like one of our processes that we help our newer coaches get started with, right? So this involves some really simple Instagram ads. And we want this done by week 14-ish. And then finally, the last thing that we want them to do is get set up with a CRM. And we actually have a system that we give our clients, and the CRM is going to be week 16. So that gives them, everything would be done by month 4, right? And then the other 2 months, we would just be coaching them and helping them improve their process, right? So the CRM would help them just like get organized, right? But these are like more events, right? Of like outcomes, not necessarily outcome related, but these are more events that we track. The one I shared above is more outcome related. So you can use either one of them for your activation points. So I just want to give you 2 different examples of them, but you want to have these be very clear so that you can see, did this happen or did this not happen? Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is, now I walked through all that. I was like, wow, that was really helpful. That would be so cool if I had that standardized process. Great. Well, Matt, how do I track that data? How do I track that? So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to hop over into Airtable. Airtable is our backend system that helps us keep track of all of our clients. Okay, I'm going to go through it briefly. There's a lot of detail that's involved with that, but let's just jump in. Okay, so I'm in Airtable right now, and right up here, I'm going to go ahead and open this. We have a form, right, that we send to all of our clients on a monthly basis, where the client would come in here, they would pick their name, they would tell us what module they're working in, they would tell us how many clients they have, they would tell how many new clients they signed last month, how many calls they had, contracted revenue, collected revenue, and they'll upload some documents for us to review. And then there's some sections in here of like, how do you feel about your progress? More subjective. What are your targets? How confident are you? And then how can we support you? Every single month, we have a big deep dive, right? So I mentioned this on the first step, right? Of like the business model where we do monthly calls. For someone to get a monthly call, they have to complete this form. And what this information does in Airtable is it helps us populate and then create averages. So I'm going to hop over to an interface real quick, and you'll see after a couple months of data, what is populated on the back end. All right, so I've got this pulled up. This is a mock data. This isn't like accurate data right now, but here's just some examples of what this will look like, right? So like all the data that gets put in here, my team can then sort through. So we've got like this one big dashboard. As you can see, it's not anywhere complete or accurate, but it'll kind of like walk through, here your number of clients you've got, here's the number of renewal clients we've got, here's like the total revenue generated by your clients, here's the average revenue generated, here's the total number of clients that each coach has, here's the progress of people. And then we can even go into like having examples of satisfaction score that each coach has, the client data from each coach, the number of clients. Like we just got all this data that we can then pull from. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, this is great. How can I use this for health and fitness coaching? Well, the data you guys can pull could be the body weight, the strength weight, right? Any metrics you're tracking to measure strength. You can also pull consistency metrics. How often was that person doing the thing? Pain levels. What are some objective numbers? And you can make it subjective, but what can you pull from there to give you more data? Right? Because ultimately, when you get to a higher stage in business, what this will help you do is your sales and marketing can be informed by the data that you're tracking. Okay, so we use Airtable. You don't have to use Airtable, but we love it. It is definitely a little bit of a process, but we always track that on a monthly basis. I know some coaches that will do it on a weekly basis too. I think that's good to do. I think you definitely want to have a weekly like check-in touch point, but we do those monthly deep dives and have a very big, long form that allows us to see all the information to give the best feedback we can. So that leads me into step 5, and I kind of just mentioned it a second ago, is weekly communication. So one of the things that we do on top of our monthly deep dives is that we want our clients to come to at least one call a week. And inside that same system, Airtable, again, what we use it, we track all of the attendance for every single call that we have, right? And that's attached to a specific file inside of Airtable for us to see exactly how many calls people went to and what calls they came to, etc. Right? So we track that, and we also want to have at least one touch point a week with them. So their support coach, whoever is assigned to them, we want them to communicate with that client at least once, if not more times a week, just so we know and get a good pulse on what they're working on and how we can support them. Okay. Again, all this is tracked inside of our Airtable. We actually have a column inside of there next to the client's name that will tell them, hey, this is the last point of contact you have with this client. And if that cell becomes longer than 14 days, it turns a certain color that then allows our team to be notified and say, hey, this person hasn't been reached out to. Let's text them. Let's email them. Let's call them. They paid us to hold them accountable. So we're going to reach out if we don't hear from them, right? Okay, the sixth thing I want to talk about here is going to be satisfaction surveys. Now, this has helped us a lot because we are proactively asking, how can we be better? How can we be better? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up that Airtable form here and kind of show you what it looks like. All right, so I've got it pulled up. It looks very similar to that monthly check-in form. A client would choose their name. They let us know what module they're in. They allow us to rate 0 out of 10 on how their overall experience for our program is, and then ask some subjective why. And then how would you rate your coach? Why? And then how would you rate your coach's response to community posted messages? So it's like, how quick are they to respond? How can we improve? And then that would be the end of that, right? So this one, we just added to this last one because we've got a retreat coming up. But it just allows us to catch things early. If anybody, for any reason, rates us a 7 or below, we're going to offer more support to, right? We don't want to have anything less than an 8. An 8, 9, and 10 is what we want. If we have a 7, that means, they're like, yeah, we see the value that you guys gave us, but I want that. I want promoters. I want people who be like, this has been the best investment I've had. And we do that by sending out satisfaction surveys every 6 to 8 weeks. We get that data back, and then we reach out to the clients, okay? So let's recap it. The first thing we talked about was having a model that supported the clients the most. And I found that the hybrid model works the best, and having a one-on-one support coach assigned to them. That support coach can serve 50 to 100 clients, and that will give them the accountability they need to keep moving forward. The second thing is mastering onboarding. And typically what we do now is a 2-call onboarding. Call number 1, get them started. Call number 2 is that first activation point, which is gonna be 7 to 14 days after, where you're gonna reach out to that client and make sure they've done the first thing that they need to do to start seeing results. Number 3 is you wanna have a really clear roadmap, right? What are the clear things that they need to do at a certain time domain so that you know, are they on track to hit their goals or not? And if they're not, it's your job to tell them they're not and help them get back on track. Number 4 is tracking your client's data. I showed you Airtable, that's the system we use. You can get started with a type form or even just like a simple Google Doc, but you wanna have something that allows you to capture data so that you're able to provide feedback and help people on a deeper level. Number 5 is your communication structure. I really like having a weekly communication touch point and having them come to at least 1 call a week. And if they're not coming, it's your job to reach out to them and tell them to come. And then the last thing on here was a satisfaction survey. We implement that every 6-ish weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And that allows us to catch things before they bubble up and become an issue. Anything that's lower than a 7 out of 10 on the program score or their coach's score, we're then gonna reach out to, see if we can help and make sure we can bump that up to an 8, 9, or 10. All right, so that's all I got for today's video. If you guys are looking for help in growing and scaling your coaching business, I'm gonna have a link down below to book a call with my team. On the call, we'll identify any bottlenecks that you're currently experiencing in your business. And if there's a way we can help, we'll tell you how we can help you. And if we can't, we'll just send you to somebody who can. All right, so if you're interested at all in getting some support, click the link below, schedule a call with my team, and we'll chat soon. Peace, y'all.